people, it's Urban Tymes Magazine. I'm your guy, Carey Digsby. Hey, just want to tell you guys that I have the opportunity, the pleasure, the blessings to get to sit and talk with DJ Stormy. What's going on, sis?
What's going on, Perry? And no, the pleasure is absolutely mine. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to make this happen. So I really appreciate you and, of course, my PR, Marty. So shout out to my girl, Marty, for taking care of me as well. So thank you for having me, Perry.
Oh, let me tell you something. When Marty let it be known that she had DJ Stormy connected, we had to drop everything. My people were like, DJ Stormy. And I said, yes. And I'm going to take care of it. So to my staff, I'm sorry, but the man had to take care of this one right here because, I mean, Stormy, you've done some amazing things. And, of course, people know you about you being the worldwide DJ. I mean, you have done things from New Orleans to Greece. I mean, it's been a whirlwind, but you have to share with us, how did you get this affinity or love for music?
Well, Perry, it stems, but first of all, you're far too kind. What I do is just literally my feet is always to the ground, head to the ground, and I'm always pedaling as fast as I can, but making sure that whatever work that I'm doing, is one, helping my brand, but then helping someone else as well and continue to build this brand. So for me, it all stems from my childhood. My mom was a singer in the Caribbean. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. She is Guyanese, and she used to sing with one of the biggest calypso singers, the Mighty Sparrow, way back in her day, and she gave it all up to have her children. And my father is like a music connoisseur, so he loved everything from calypso to reggae to country. So growing up in my household, it was always music. It was always my mother singing. Unfortunately, those vocals did not pass down to me. It skipped right over my elder sister and went to my older sister and then missed me. So I do have the music bug, but from a vocal perspective, I have my own tone, my own sound, and my own sonic blend with music, but I really don't consider myself a singer. I consider myself a true entertainer of all music. And so it all stems from my childhood growing up in a household just filled with music. And my brother and I used to literally, when we first learned how to drive when we were 14, we were so into music. You should have seen us back then. I mean, getting the 6x9, putting it in our old 1982 Delta 88.
Delta 88. What you know about Delta 88?
Oh, what you know about Delta 88? That's me, man. Look, my first car was an Oldsmobile. They don't even make those things anymore. So music has always been a part of my family, and my brother and I, we've always been literally like a huge gumbo pot of music. We love everything from rap to pop to Indian music to calypso and soca and reggae. The only thing that I personally choose, that I really don't listen to and vibe with is really country. But country is going so mainstream pop right now that you really can't even tell the difference because everything is kind of blending into the genre line of pop. So there's rap and there's pop, and gosh, some of the rappers right now, including Drake, right? He's pop. Right. Some of Future stuff is pop. So, music has always been a part of my family and a part of the culture. And I grew up in New Orleans my entire life, which, as you know, is also a melting pot for different genres of music and the culture, right, of music and jazz and zydeco and bounce music. We have our own music, which is like so exciting, and I'm so happy that the world is now getting a taste of what I have known to been my homegrown music of bounce music. So thanks to Drake and a couple of artists that's been sampling a lot of the beats and giving respect to our New Orleans artists. But, I'm New Orleans to the core, but I love music in general. I love Atlanta. I love my roots in Trinidad and Guyana. So that's where the international piece comes from. I seek those type of influences in everything that I do.
Simply amazing. Simply amazing. And that's very important, too, because I think that's one of the things with the world being so the world is tending to gravitate toward each other and learn more about each other. And what you mentioned is something that will allow longevity in this type of business because of you having all of those
Exactly.
different type of traits and everything. So that's amazing that you even said that. And you know what? I'm hoping that some of the younger listeners, some of the younger budding artists is listening to this and learning from this as well, because I'm telling you, you got some stuff that's out there. You know, I listened to it, and I got a chance to even see a little bit of it as well, you know, on the show, which we'll talk about very shortly. But, I mean, thank you for even mentioning that as far as the blending and how, you know, each piece is so important. That's a blessing right there. That's cool. That is cool.
Thank you, Perry.
So,
thank you.
So check this out. So with you being, of course, out of New Orleans, how did you take this storm to the ATL? I mean, how did that occur?
You know, I always visited the ATL. We always had major football rivals with the Atlanta Falcons, but I love the city of Atlanta. So I always used to come up here for the Atlanta Falcons game and to visit and party in college. I went to Alabama State, which, as you know, Alabama State is HBCU, so was Tuskegee, which was on the way to Atlanta. So we just decided to hit up Alabama State parties, drive 30 minutes to Tuskegee, and drive another hour and 45 minutes to Atlanta. Hey, it's all in the same interstate. So for Atlanta, it's always been kind of like a second home to me, and I've always looked at Atlanta as somewhere I possibly would want to live. Unfortunately, in New Orleans, it's really hard when you're from a city and you've lived there so long and you're part of the culture that it's really scary taking a big leap of faith and moving out to a big city like Atlanta and trying to do stuff on your own. So I was one of the ones that were very low risk, risk tolerant. So I decided to kind of stand still until Hurricane Katrina forced me to evacuate. And when Hurricane Katrina happened, I left the day before it hit. And I remember it took me 21 hours, a 6.5-hour trip took me 21 hours to get here with my dogs, my family. We had caravans. We were driving on the side of the road. We were running out of gas. They had no gas stations that had gas. Then the ones that did have gas, they had no representatives, and everybody was guzzling gas from other people. And, I mean, it was the craziest experience of my life to get here to Atlanta, then to get here thinking we're just going to be here for 2 days, which we always evacuate for about 2 days, and then ended up being 3 weeks and 4 weeks and 6 weeks later with 2 nights of clothes. And we're just sitting here like, what in the HE double hockey sticks is going on? All we wanted to do was go back home. And when we finally was able to re-enter New Orleans and saw the devastation that happened. And of course, we had to spend all of our savings in hotels and everything else. So that was just one devastation, is the hurricane itself. The mental, the physical stress, the families being torn apart, that was a whole nother stress level that people don't even see. But when I came to Atlanta showed me so much love. And no matter what they thought about the people that came to Atlanta or to Houston or to wherever they evacuated from, they called us, oh, you're here from the storm, right? And so that's where I said, you know what, Atlanta has been so good to me, but I have to pay homage to Atlanta for embracing me in the entertainment and the corporate industry, but I have to represent what I came from, and which was from the storm, Hurricane Katrina. And it was just the perfect opportunity for me to say I am the perfect storm, because I had the groundwork that already laid in the streets. Because I'm from the hood in New Orleans. I'm from the hood of all hoods in New Orleans. I just got very, very lucky. And I know from the street level to the corporate executive level in the music industry, from the business side of it, that's how I started in 1998 on the business side of it. And so I learned the business side before I even became an artist, before I even became a DJ 2.5 years ago. And so for me, I really want to leave the impression on the youth. I want to build a blueprint of how to become successful, and I'm still working on it, how to become successful and doing it the right way, especially as a female in this industry, and showing them it's not just about being a rapper or a singer, that there's so much more in the entertainment industry. And that's why I think Atlanta has definitely been the place that I can leave my footprint and say that the storm has definitely tracked northeast to Atlanta, from Trinidad to New Orleans to Atlanta, and now I'm really trying to broaden my horizons and broaden my goals and try to reach places like Greece, reach places back to my hometown of Trinidad and to my hometown of Guyana, which I've never visited before for the first time I did last year, which was so amazing. And I'm going to continue to do these things and hopefully be in Dubai this summer. And so I just want to be able to show that footprint for these young women, even young men that's looking at me in the DJ and the entertainment industry to say, hey, you can go about this the right way. Go about this the hard, the longer way. But in the long run, it's going to be longevity as well as it's going to pay off.
Exactly. So here's the thing. You mentioned just earlier that, of course, you learned the business side of it back in 1998, and, that transgressed all the way to where you are right now. So here's an interesting question, because you're always building your brand. I mean, and it's a very strong brand. How did Ready for Love come into play? How did Will Packard's new hit show come into the equation and become part of the quote-unquote perfect storm?
Well, great question. And you'll probably be pleasantly surprised that I did not apply for this. They found me. I have no idea what about my Instagram social media says that I was single. But, I've got to go reevaluate that. because I just thought I was just portraying my brand and make sure that the brand was out there nice and polished. But obviously it shows that I'm single and I'm ready to mingle, I guess. Gosh darn it. So I've got to do better on that. I've got to find some love here. But for me, they found me, and initially the funny part was, and I don't know how long we have, so I'm going to try to get to the point, but the funny part was they found me on social media, and then when they reached out to me, I thought it was some kind of gimmick, right? They were just like, again, another reality show. I've been a part of 3. I've been asked to be a part of major reality series that's on right now, as well as I've been in pilots that got funded, pure production and everything, and then got shelved. So I wasn't really into the whole reality piece of it. So when they called, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. No, but okay, whatever. They called again. Then they started the Skype interviews, and I was like, okay, well, maybe this thing is real. And I remember I was talking to my girlfriend, and I said, hey, I'm not doing this. And she was like, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not doing this. And literally, I was like, and it's not even going to, come through. It's going to fall apart like everything else in television. Like everybody's trying to do some reality show. Then I got another call, and they were like, oh, no, this is happening. And they really like you, and we want to take you to the next step. And so we want you to meet them. And I was like, who's them? They were like, oh, it's actually a production for Will Packer and Oprah on OWN Network. And I was like, wow, really? So at that point is when I was like, I need to hear a little bit more. But, okay, Will Packer, his first reality series that he's done, unscripted, ever. And then he's now partnering with Oprah to deliver this package. And I'm like, okay, it can't be too ratchet. It can't go too far against my brand. But I'm very protective of it, and I was very, very nervous. And when I tell you, Perry, oh, my gosh, every time that I got closer and closer, and even in the interview, I wasn't nervous about the process. I was more nervous about what are they going to do in editing to make me look like I'm not. And that's what was the issue. And that's what I couldn't sleep at night with. I was like, they're going to make me look like whatever they want to make me. And so I slept on it a couple times, and I told myself, you know what? I'm going to be as transparent as I can be. And the only way I can be me is to be very transparent, 100%. So what you saw on Ready to Love is what you got. What they had for editing is what they got. And that was me, and that was all of me, which is pretty cool because now I can really look back and say, wow, these are some things that I may want to change when approaching dating. Or, hey, you know what? That was me, and I really didn't see too much, and I need to proceed, and it was a growing experience for me. And so I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was going to happen. It happened, and it happened to be one of the top shows on Oprah's network, which is absolutely amazing. And it was pretty darn cool to have a relationship with Will and, talking to him and him retweeting your stuff and Oprah retweeting your stuff. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I'm still in, like, this glorified moment, just like this is still unreal to me, especially when I'm traveling or I'm out in the mall and stuff, and people actually know me. So really cool, very blessed, and I'm so humbled.
Yeah, so, and it was interesting because I was thinking about the one episode when you and the pastor were communicating with each other. And,
come on, Chris. Come on, Pastor.
And that was your response. But it was so genuine, though. I mean, it wasn't one of those things in which you were just like, well, yeah, I'm just going to say this to him and blah, blah, blah. But you were really genuine with it. I mean, you was very open. And then throughout the show itself, it was interesting because of your position in regards to what you do, as well as you shared with many people on the show as far as, your family and how you have been looking for love. So thank you for being genuine, because with you being the busy person that you are, you could have spun it any way in order to, quote unquote, build your brand or get the ratings or the instant hits and things of that nature. But yeah, you were straight up. We thank you for that.
Thank you, Perry. That's the only way I know how to be, man. And at the end of the day, I won't sell my soul for anybody. And if I can't sleep at night, then it's not worth it.
Indeed, indeed. So you mentioned, too, as far as certain things about changing how you handle certain relationships and such. Do you think the show actually gave you that, as far as, you learned something once the cameras were off and everybody dispersed and such? What did you take from the show?
I did, and for me, it was more of a control experiment, a control experiment. And what I mean by that is, in the real world, we wouldn't, get to actually date someone and then come together as women and go over and debrief about our dates, per se, and the guys wouldn't do the same in the real world because they won't be dating the same people. However, what I took away was I went in there in a mindset of I'm not going to date the typical person that I normally date. I would have went for Mike Bless. And so, which is Michael Anthony. So I would have went for him. And I purposely said, no, I'm going to date completely opposite because that has been giving me and yielding me the same result this entire time. So I'm going to go the opposite direction. And I met Chris, and we had a connection, which was super cool because I was like, he's a pastor. What in the world? This is never going to work. I'm too edgy. I'm an entertainer. That's not going to work. And then I met Keba, and I was like, okay, Keba, he was younger, loved the athletic piece of it because I'm athletic, but and we made a connection because he has a West Indian background and stuff like that. Same thing with Aaron. Aaron, I was ready to leave the show after Keba and Pastor Chris ended the journey. I was like, well, there's nobody else here that I have a connection with. And then I went on a skating date with Aaron, and he was a gentleman. He smiled. He laughed. He was funny. That's what I saw. That's what I got. And it's not the typical person that I would date, Pastor Chris, Keba, or Aaron. If I met him on the street, I would definitely be genuine and nice, but I probably would not like commit to a date with them. So that's what I got. I got the opportunity to see that I'm not going to judge anybody. I've never been that type of woman, but to be able to experience, different aspects and different journeys of different people's, relationships and their careers, whether they're a pastor or whether they're a realtor like Aaron, I really took away and said, you know what, I feel like my future husband could be any of these with the exception of Aaron, just because it's Aaron. And, yeah, that's Aaron. Sorry. Am I being ignorant?
Wait a minute. How many times you said that? 1, 2.
No. I'm going to run really far away from Aaron. Really far. I try to help that guy out so many times, and when I tell you that's just him, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And I pray that he finds someone that will change him and make him a better man. I do. Because I don't have the patience to tolerate that. No.
Well, like they said, or like Grandmama used to say, there's somebody for everybody, baby. So
baby.
And that was, that was sweet of you saying you pray for that. So
yeah, I'm gonna pray for him. I will pray for him, baby.
All righty then. So guys, we're gonna switch on to the next question before she says Aaron one more time. No, just kidding. So,
no, I'm serious.
Well, one of the things that is very admirable about you, though, Stormy, is, your passion for, of course, women and what they do in, in the community, as well as also with the youth. I know you do a lot of work with them. I mean, you've received, huge accolades and awards in regards to, helping women better themselves, encouraging them, mentoring them, as well as the youth. But you have to share with our readers the true reason why you do that.
So it's a couple things, but I'll hit on the main ones. One, from the youth perspective, I grew up in one of the poorer cities in the Southeast. I also grew up in what most will call the ghetto, the hood. And so all we had were, recreational facilities. We didn't have these beautiful facilities like we have here in Atlanta for the kids, and we didn't have our own uniforms. We didn't have, all these wonderful things and after-school programs and extracurricular activities. And so what was important to me as a child was sports saved my life, and I truly believe that. My coaches saved my life. The discipline that instilled in me at a young age is what I owe to all of my success now, because they instilled integrity. They instilled, the discipline that I needed to become a better person, a well-rounded person, not just an athlete, but to do right in the community and help out as team sports. Doing individual things in individual sports and being an individual contributor, that's one thing. Being on a team teaches you so many different things that being an individual contributor cannot teach you. And so I really owe that piece of giving back to the youth based on my recreational sports that I did when I was younger, because I really think that saved my life. It changed my life. And it allowed me to progress into junior high and in high school and continue my sports, which eventually paid for my college and gave me the discipline, the structure, the integrity, and everything else that I needed to apply in the professional industry. And so I contribute all of my success to all of those coaches that helped me out when I was 10, 11, in middle school, and my high school coaches. I owe them everything at this point. So for me to give back to the youth, I had coached for softball. I have head coached for rec league basketball, and then the AAU basketball. And then I go now, since I don't really have all the time to do and coach, which is a lot of time commitment, I go back and I give back to the Boys and Girls Club here in Atlanta. And actually there's two in particular. But I give back my time, and we talk about being an entertainer. We're talking about empowerment, and you should hear the questions that these kids ask me. It's just so absolutely amazing, and they're so passionate, and they're so talented, and to see that fuel and fire in their eyes motivates me to say, you know what, we've got to do better with the youth. We've got to give them a platform. We've got to give them outlets so they can become successful, just like I wanted to be successful, when I was younger. I wanted to be a doctor and a lawyer. It didn't end up that way, but I'm so grateful for what it instilled in me that I could be whatever I wanted to be. And then from the women empowerment piece of it, that stemmed particularly from my entire life, but from one incident from my last marriage. I'm now divorced almost 6 years, and I don't regret it, but it taught me a lot, and I endured a lot from a domestic violence perspective, from from a mental, financial abuse, anything and everything you can think of. I've been through, and I don't want pity, but what I do want to do is I want women to understand and know that, you know what, they look at me, they look at, whatever they think I am, on my face, or I think I've got it all, or I've got my stuff together, whatever it is. I want women to be able to see that we're not perfect. And no matter what storm that you go through, all we have to do is just hang on. The sun will shine. And I want them to understand that they are not in it by themselves, because that was the loneliest point in my life. Not to be a Debbie Downer right now, but it was the loneliest point in my life, because that at that point,
I had no one really to turn to that would understand my mindset. And because now I know how the cycle was, I know how other women feel and what they go through, and that's why it's so relatable, and I'm so relatable to them. And I get so many DMs and comments about, I inspire them, and, and they appreciate my transparency because they're going through the same thing, and so on and so forth. The messages just come at the hundreds, at the thousands. You have no idea. And that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm just doing it to maybe help that one woman, that one person, that one teenager that's in a pretty bad relationship to know that, hey, the sun will shine. And you may not be ready to make that decision now, but when you do, the sun will shine again. No matter where you are in that cloudy situation, the sun will shine. And that's my prayer. I really hope and pray that, that what I've learned in my transparency, and no matter what judgment anybody places on me, it doesn't matter, because the burden that I bared through that time frame is no greater burden that they could place on me. So I would take the gamble that I'm helping more than I am hurting. So that's where I come from and stems from with the women empowerment, the girl power.
The powerful girl power. That's what I'm talking about. See, that says so much. And I'm hoping that our listeners, especially the young people as well as our sisters out there, are listening to this, because that's truly inspirational. And as far as your whole background and where you came from through trials and tribulation to where you are right now, that speaks volumes. And to take that platform that you developed and even build upon it to be a blessing to others, simply amazing. Thank you for that.
Thank you,
that
Carey.
right there, gold star. Definitely gold star.
Hey.
So,
thank you.
Closing out, we need to know what's next for DJ Stormy. You've done, of course, worldwide music. You've done the recent show, which has garnered a lot of reviews, rants and raves. You've built an amazing platform. What's next for you? What can we see?
Absolutely. So I will tell you I'm going to take part of, a couple of Super Bowl events here in Atlanta for Super Bowl weekend, as well as we are planning some things in Charlotte for NBA All-Star Weekend and possibly CIAA. Trying to get back to Essence Festival this year, which was absolutely amazing last year for me. So I'm trying to get back to Essence Festival. Finalize the details on Dubai this summer. I'm going to do Fête du Rosé here in Atlanta in May again, which is a huge Moet Chandon festival, the top-of-the-line festival here in Atlanta. And then I will be at the National Fried Chicken Festival again. I just sealed that deal back in, I want to say September or August of this year in New Orleans. And then we're just going to continue to plan. I'm supposed to be in Trinidad again this year. Not sure how that's going to work out this year, but there are a lot of things from the music perspective. I'm going to be probably releasing a new single. I'm back in the studio with some new music on a whole different level. And then from an acting perspective, I just played my first cameo speaking role in the new Limited Partners with Tiffany Haddish and Selma Hayek that will be coming out hopefully by this summer. I've done quite a bit of auditions for major speaking roles here in Atlanta filming and in Canada, and I'm continuing to take additional auditions. I have an agent here in Atlanta. So near future, definitely music, definitely DJing and continuing down that path. In the near future and for the long run, definitely you'll see me more on television and more in the movies. That's my plan.
Wow. Okay. Man. Busy.com. I'm
Very.
Thank
you. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, so family, check this out. Amazing interview with DJ Stormy Monroe. Check her out. I want you guys to go and visit her website, stormyatl.com. That'll definitely give you the updates as far as what's going on. Follow her on Instagram. For those individuals that are in the QC and surrounding areas as well, you can book her. Definitely contact her as well. Is it okay to give the email out to book you?
Absolutely. It's bookstormyatl@gmail.com. And if you can remember that, it is on my website, you can click email or contact or book. And then if you're on Instagram at StormyATL, just click that little link right below my name that says email. It'll take you right to my email, and you can request the booking.
There it is, folks. Y'all heard it first right here. So, again, check her out. Visit StormyATL.com. Check her out on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, which this interview will be on very shortly, as well as Facebook, and Google her. Guys, it has been an honor and a blessing to get to talk to Stormy Monroe. I'm going to tell you, that's why I told my people, I'm going to take care of this one right here, because just with her being on the show, as well as your music, sis, and the things that you do and what you represent, it is truly an inspiration, and I can honestly say we want to thank you for allowing Urban Times the opportunity to sit and chit-chat with you.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much, Urban Times. I love you guys, and I appreciate your time, and much more to come. So hopefully we'll talk again.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, especially if you come to the QC for the for the All-Star game as well as CIAA. We'll definitely be on the hunt for you and making sure we get all of our people to come and see you at the venues that you're going to be at and such. So definitely count on that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.